Hello, welcome to Service Heroes Customer Satisfaction Index Awards event. This is the 13th year that we are sitting here together sharing with you some of the insights that we've learned in terms of customer satisfaction, as well as announcing some of the winners in Kuwait on customer satisfaction. It gives me great pleasure to be here. My name is Fatin Abu Ghazaleh, and tonight, before I get into the lessons learned and the awards event, I have a few announcements that I'd like to make. We're here today at the iconic Al Hamra Business Towers, the tallest building in Kuwait. It's a real privilege for us to be filming from this location. We thank Al Hamra team for allowing us to be here. It's a beautiful setting for a beautiful event, and it's also a bird's eye view of Kuwait. I don't know if you can see the Kuwait Towers behind me, but this perspective allows us to also take the helicopter and look at the data that we'll be sharing tonight. Tonight I'll be sharing lessons learned from the index as well as awarding the winners. But before we do so, I'd like to announce that we have a service trivia following this event. So please listen carefully to what I'm going to be talking about. It's a fun quiz, so I hope that people will participate and answer. And the lucky winner will obtain a treat for themselves as well as 10 of their colleagues in the office. You can see the QR code on the screen, and we'll also be announcing it by email and using our social media channels. On a serious note, since 2016, Service Hero has made the decision that it is a part of the Kuwait community, and as such, we would like to donate, and we do donate, since 2016, 50 fills for each validated assessment that we collect. It's important for us because we feel this is our small contribution to Kuwait, but it's based on customer feedback, and that's why we encourage people to give us authentic feedback so that we can donate even more on your behalf. So you rate and we donate. In 2022, we did a couple of things that were slightly different. One was our beautiful collaboration on a mental well-being survey, the first of its kind in Kuwait. We had a number of partners and sponsors that were happy to support us on the CSR. This is our way as well to contribute to Kuwait. The survey was measuring the well-being of the community in Kuwait, and we were very proud of the fact that we collected 4,800 assessments from people leaving the most private of thoughts with us. And the aim is to supply policymakers with data on this, from this survey. We also introduced a new category last year, and that category is a fun category. It's entertainment. So entertainment includes cinemas, arcades, paddleboard places, museums. So it's a category that we thought was missing in the index, and we're really happy to be able to measure customer satisfaction on this category. And I'm really happy that we have launched our new website. This new website is designed with you, the consumer, in mind. It's more intuitive, we hope, and more user-friendly. So we look forward to hearing your feedback on it. And before I continue, I do have to say that I'm grateful for two segments or two very large groups that are very important to us. The first are the consumers. Consumers, thank you very much for continuing to rate brands in Kuwait because you believe your voice is being heard. This year we collected and validated, as I said, 25,000 assessments. Some of these people I know by name because we've seen their names throughout the years since 2010 when we started. They feel that they are being heard and they feel that they're making a difference when it comes to service excellence. Others are new to Service Hero and they might have seen one of our ads or banners on social media, or they might have responded to an invitation by companies. Whoever you are, we are very grateful for your support when it comes to making your voices heard. The other group that I'm very grateful for are our Independent Advisory Council. We have had an advisory council since we started. There's 3 members on this advisory council that I'm going to mention by name because they started in 2010 and are still with us today. Abdul Majid al-Shatti, Amal bin Ali, and Nu'man Sehgal have been with us since we started, as I said, and their role, as well as the other advisory members from academic entities, are to ensure that we stay independent and scientific and neutral in the data that we report. And with that, I come to a section where we are transforming the data. So I'm going to admit something, that deep down inside, I'm actually a nerd. I love the fact that I can look at large data sets and pull out of it insights that have some meaning. And sometimes we realize that the data that we provide to companies and to organizations sometimes is not as tangible as they would like. We'd give them a score and they don't know what to do with the score. So we thought, let's take a different perspective on the data and let's make it a little bit more relatable. So I'd like to begin with lessons learned from the index. Over the years, we've realized that sometimes when we report in terms of numbers, it's not enough. So we thought, let's change the perspective this year. And we'd like to focus on what it means to be human. And what we've seen is that humans are very complex. We're different by age, by gender, by economic background. The differences are endless. But in actuality, when you take a deeper look, humans are more similar than they are different, and we all need the same basic needs. I'm going to quote from Abraham Maslow, who is a prominent psychologist in the last century, who focused on successful people and the traits of successful people. And as a result of his research, he's created what's called the pyramid, and now it's referred to as Maslow's hierarchy, which has multiple levels, but to simplify, I'd like to explain it in terms of the 3 basic levels. And people move up the pyramid, and they can move down as well, as you can see, as I will explain. So to begin with, the lowest level of the pyramid is about basic needs. Basic needs requires that a human is safe, secure, not being attacked, and has access to food. So it's about physiological needs, which means food, and then safety. And as you know, we had a horrible earthquake in the region recently. Turkey and Syria are suffering from that, and a lot of people that were actually at a higher level have slipped down the hierarchy to this basic needs of humanity. I'd like to move up to the next level. The next level is where not only are we safe and well fed, but we have our psychological needs met. And these psychological needs are a sense of belonging, so to feel that we are belonging to a community, to a tribe, to a family, to feel loved, and to have the esteem of others, not the self-esteem, the esteem of others, which means we're respected. So whatever we do, we belong to where we are, we're loved, and we're respected. And then the highest level of the hierarchy is where we transcend everything else, where we fulfill our dreams. So self-actualization is about going beyond the day-to-day and going on a higher level of fulfillment, where we flourish and we thrive. Why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because I'd like to do a parallel perspective of Maslow's needs in terms of consumers and also in terms of organizations. And I'm going to start out with looking at consumers, and I've chosen a young couple who I love very much, Khalid and Maryam. They're a couple that were introduced by a friend/cousin of theirs, and we're going to go through their journey together and how it relates to human needs. In the beginning, when they met, they would go out to different restaurants where they experimented with food that I don't even recognize. I think they mentioned things like acai bowl and bao and kimchi, etc. So you can get the drift. It's stuff that not all of us would eat normally. But these experiences helped bring them together, especially if the experience was a positive one and the brand interaction and the restaurant served them with very high service levels. They also went out together to entertainment, whether they went bowling or to the cinemas. All of these were experiences that solidified the relationship between the two of them, so that eventually they decided this was it. It's time to get married, and they proposed to each other, and their journey together as consumers. So they're in the psychological group of Maslow's hierarchy. They're loved, they belong, they have the esteem of others. And in this group, now we're going to look at them for the first time as consumers. They've changed. They're no longer thinking of one person, but they're thinking of the two of them. So it's a duality of decision making. So for the first time in their lives, Khalid and Maryam were going to furnish an apartment of their own choice. And this is where they discovered that they had a little bit of differences. One of them had a very practical sense of, taste in terms of furniture, which was Maryam. Khalid was a little bit more whimsical. So they would sometimes stand in a showroom and argue about the size, the color, the texture of the furniture. And if the salesperson was attentive to their needs, they could help. And if they weren't attentive to their needs, this argument could kind of blow out a little bit more. In addition to furniture, of course, big center of attraction in any household is the kitchen. Maryam, being a hobby chef, wanted to ensure that she had all the right gadgets to bake the best cakes that she can make. Khalid was more interested in a good coffee machine. And where they differed was their TV. Should it be curved? Should it be flat? Should it be, large? Should it be small? And again, this was a point of, debate between the two of them. And again, it was an opportunity for the salesperson in the showroom to step in and help them out. Throughout their journey, they ordered online, so there was a lot of online delivery of accessories, furniture, electronics, you name it. A younger generation that's so used to purchasing online and it's more practical and convenient for them. And delivery started to happen, so that installation of the furniture, or the call center would call to say the guy's at the door, no one's opening for him. So all of these were experiences with service for this young couple that were a little bit different than they were in the past. The couple wanted to go on a honeymoon, and like anyone wanting to go on a honeymoon or on any trip, the first thing that you do is you go online and start looking at booking tickets and looking at hotels and holiday packages. And they decided to go to the Maldives, lucky them. And here's where they had to contact their bank and ensure that their credit cards would be accepted when they traveled to Asia, and very important that their cards are not going to be declined when they're in a restaurant or in the hotel. And they had to do the same thing with the data roaming service that they had. So they called their telecom, made sure that they had access to roaming calls and data. So once they landed in the Maldives, they could look up Google Maps and find out where the resort was and head there feeling safe and secure. So throughout all of this experience, it was upon the salesperson to kind of connect this couple together and connect this couple to brands. And in reality, one thread connects us all, and that thread is our humanity, the fact that we all share the same basic needs. So now what I'd like to do is shift the perspective, looking at Maslow's need from the perspective of an organization. And an organization is living. It's comprised of people, and it's living of people leading it. So we can actually apply Maslow's hierarchy on organizations. So let's start with the first layer, which is basic needs. Basic needs, you recall, I said, is about having safety and having physiological support. So for companies, they need to ensure that their staff feel that their job security is guaranteed. They need to feel that their jobs are not dangerous. They need to feel that they have the right tools at their disposal. For example, delivery guys need to ride on safe motorcycles or drive safe cars, and they need to feel that the company would support them if anything goes wrong. So safety, security, and having access to the right tools is very important to ensure that companies don't offer basic service. What is basic service? It's where staff of companies are not secure, where staff of companies don't feel safe, and so the transaction becomes kind of robotic, and it's a single transaction, and it doesn't result in repeat business. So let's move up the hierarchy to the second level. The second level is psychological needs. Psychological needs is where companies instill in their team a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose, a sense of oneness. They train them, they recognize them, they reward them, they support them. All of that, if it's achieved, will enable companies to elevate service standards to a higher level and fulfill the satisfaction of their customers. And the final level, where we said was transcendence or self-actualization, as Maslow calls it, is where companies, very few companies are able to do this, but it's where companies allow their staff to fulfill their own dreams. In other words, I'm empowered, I'm supported by my organization, and I want to improve myself as an employee, and in doing so, I will be able to offer the best service standards to my customers. So now that we've explained the three levels, Maslow's pyramid, both for consumers as well as organizations, I hope that you can begin to see how our beautiful young couple, Khalid and Maryam, could have been served just as humanly as possible if companies took into consideration the fact that their team members are also humans and also have their own needs. So what connects us all is our humanity and being human-centric. Now that we've kind of explored this human-centric approach, let's take a look at what the data is showing us when it comes to customer satisfaction. And here I tell you I'm a geek, so I'm looking at a data set in this slide that you see that's based on a customer satisfaction index average of 6 years. So here we're looking at the distribution of companies across, if you want, the bell curve. On the extreme left of the bell curve, we see that there's a 1% and another 15%, so a total of 16% of companies that are performing in the 60s or below. I would venture to say that these companies are only offering their own staff their basic service needs. So they're barely feeling job security, they're barely feeling, supported, and maybe they don't have the right tools at their disposal. That's why these scores are so low. In the middle, 50% of companies are scoring in the 70s in customer satisfaction, where this means that the companies are addressing some of the psychological needs of their staff, but not enough of the psychological needs. And then we look at the extreme right of the graph. We're looking at 6% of companies that are scoring above 85 points for all 6 years of the average, which means they're thriving. These companies are able to instill in their teams such empowerment, such enthusiasm, such a sense of purpose about serving the customer that they're doing so well and they're achieving these highest service standards. And underneath them, we have another group, the 80 to 85, which are probably addressing a lot of the psychological needs, but they're not unleashing excellence in their teams because maybe they're not empowering them enough. Now look at this bell curve, and I'm going to impose upon it another line. And that other line is the correlation between how consistent a brand scores are across the years and customer satisfaction. The more volatility we see in brand scores, the higher the higher the volatility, the lower the customer satisfaction score is. This is a pattern that's very clear. You'll see the line is very high, 14.9 standard deviation for companies that are scoring in the 60s or below. That means they're not consistent in their scores. That also means that they don't have a complete system to offer the best service standards that they have. And then as you move to the extreme right, where there's very little volatility, the bandwidth of 3 standard deviation, this is where we see these companies have a full framework for service excellence, and that framework is allowing them to be consistent and in satisfying customer needs. So there's a very strong correlation between satisfaction and stability. And keeping on the topic of stability, let's look at what drives consistency, what drives overall satisfaction higher. Looking at the entire data set, we see that there's 3 factors that stand out that have a high impact on overall satisfaction. This is regardless of where the transaction took place. These 3 factors are the quality of the product or service, reliability and consistency, and then the complaint resolution practices at a company. So how well companies can resolve complaints, how reliable they are, and how good the offering is in terms of the product offering drives overall satisfaction considerably. These are the highest elements. But when the transaction takes place on other channels, these factors begin to change. For in-store, in-branch transactions, the factor that drives satisfaction the most, with a 40% impact, which is very significant, is the reliability of the experience. So I'm walking into a fast food store, I'm expecting it to be a certain process, a certain procedure. I'm used to that, I'm used to speed. And if that doesn't happen, then I would consider this brand unsatisfactory in my opinion as a consumer. That's what this is saying. Whereas when the transaction takes place on the phone, 40% of the impact of the phone transaction, satisfaction with it, is based on how well the brand resolved a complaint. So which makes sense, you're calling because you usually have something that you want solved and they have to solve your complaint. So that's why the impact of on the phone is driven by complaint resolution. And finally, in-app is based on how reliable and consistent you are as an organization in the app experience. So the experience in the application needs to be consistent, and you need to be able to resolve complaints because it has an impact as well. So this gives us an understanding of how we should be managing the service dimensions, and we're measuring 16 service dimensions in our index, and this is what this correlation analysis is based on. Now that we've spoken about channels, let's take a very quick look at channel changes across the years. You'll see in 2018, the highest transaction in the mix was in-store transactions. It was 77% of our mix. Today, it's dropped down to 55% of the mix. It's a decline of 25%. What does you see? There's another line that's a mirror image of this line for in-store, which is digital transactions. And digital transactions have increased by 95%. Today they stand at 39% of the mix. For some industries, they're nearly 100% of the mix, and industries which are digital in nature. So we see a very significant shift from in-store to online, which suggests that brands need to understand that wherever they serve the customer, the human, it has to be the same experience. We've also taken a look across the years at the distribution of at how well brands are doing. And we looked at the number of brands, a portion of brands that have dropped in customer satisfaction. Since 2010, we also took a look at how many brands have improved, stayed the same, or declined in customer satisfaction. And what we've seen is just over half of the percentage, or half of the distribution of brands have actually declined, gone down in customer satisfaction across the years, which is a very significant proportion, of course. And then we have around a quarter of the percent of brands, 25% of brands that have stayed the same, and only 22% of brands have been able to improve, to raise their customer satisfaction standards across the years. What we'd like to acknowledge are the brands that have improved the most. So we're showcasing here 4 brands that have done well and their scores are in ranges that are very healthy. The star of the improvement is Kuwait Airways. It's improved 53% between 2010 and 2018. In fact, it's improved 4% per year across the years, which is a significant improvement. And for such a complex industry, I know a lot of effort goes into that. We've also seen 28% improvement for Zain Telecom. 2%, it's more than 2% per year, I think it's 2% per year. 15% improvement for Chevrolet car service, and 14% improvement for Toyota for car sales. So these brands have been using a more complete toolkit for service excellence, and we hope you continue to do that. We'd like to also focus on 2 heroic scores that we've seen that's specific to the service dimensions. Heroic in our index is when the score is above 90 points. 90 points and above means a brand is exceeding customer expectations, and it's very, very difficult to achieve, which is why we call it heroic. The heroic scores that we see are in quality of product or service, and there's 5 brands that have obtained heroic scores in that category. Lexus in car sales, KDD eShop, Bubiyan Bank, Piccio, and Royal Hayat Hospital all have obtained heroic scores when it comes to the quality of the product or service. The other heroic scores that we've seen are on reliability. In fact, only 1 brand has obtained a heroic score when it comes to reliability, and we've already said both reliability and quality of product and service impact overall satisfaction significantly. That brand is Bubiyan Bank. And the other 2 brands that have obtained very high scores in in reliability are Kia for sales and KDD eShop, both in the very, very high 80s. So we're calling these brands out because they've done a great job, and we want to acknowledge that achievement. Why does customer satisfaction matter? I'm going to share with you 2 metrics that hopefully will give us a drive to focus on excellence. The first is the American Customer Satisfaction Index that has created a hypothetical investment fund that has pulled into this fund the highest scoring brands in the US based on customer satisfaction, and it's looked at their stock market prices, and it's compared this hypothetical fund of the leading ACSI brands with the largest companies in the US under the Standard & Poor S&P 500 index. So the leading ACSI brands outperform the market by 1,600% versus S&P that outperformed the market by 400%. If there's any justification for focusing on service excellence, it's this case. The other case that I'm going to share with you is one that's based on market share. That's because a lot of the brands in Kuwait aren't even listed in the stock market, so we can't really do the correlation that the ACSI has done. So based on market share, what have we seen? We've seen that the base of customers interacting with brands has grown considerably when the brand offers good customer satisfaction. For example, if a brand's average customer satisfaction across the years is 85 points and above, their market share grows on average, all of these brands, by 59%. And if brands are scoring 80 to 85, their average market share will grow 39%. These are for very compelling reasons. And let me give you some examples of some of these brands. Bubiyan Bank has grown 150% since 2010 in market share based on our data, based on the index that we have. And as I said, we have 350,000 records to be able to make these claims. Caribou has grown a market share of 58%. Royal Hayat Hospital and American Eagle both increased 50% each. Qatar Airways, 43%. And Maysel Ghanem, one of the oldest brands in Kuwait, one of the oldest local brands and concepts in Kuwait, has also grown 29% in an industry that's always growing with new players in the market. All of these are very compelling reasons, if anything, to tell us that service excellence should be a strategic priority for companies in order for them to thrive and perform. And that's why it's very important for brands to have their pulse on customer satisfaction, which is exactly why last year we introduced a subscription dashboard that allows company staff to log in, see their scores since 2010, and be able to see them since the day before. So it's not live, but it's 24 hours lagged as an indicator. And this dashboard is a one-to-one window to your customers. It allows you to observe, filter on segment, filter on dimension, and compare to your peers. It allows you to, compare to trends across the years and see tips and advice. And very importantly, it allows companies to respond to customer feedback. We've created an interface where you can go and respond to any reviews that have been left about a brand so that you can, thank the customer or address any shortcomings that you have. And now that we've covered the lessons learned, we've come to the part of the evening that I know you've all been waiting for. So now we come to the portion of the evening where we announce the winners based on 25,000 validated assessments that we've collected. Remember, we collect 27,000 and then we validate using our criteria. So the awards that I'll be presenting this evening are based on only those assessments and only those categories that have been able to meet our very tough criteria. I'm going to begin with a recognition of some brands that have ranked highest in their categories. However, they're below our new threshold for awarding a prize. Our new threshold for awarding a prize is a score above 80 points in customer satisfaction. There's 5 categories that did not achieve that score. However, we'd like to recognize them. And these categories are as follows. In close, we have 3 nominees for this award: Al-Nasser Sports, American Eagle, and Max. And now we'll move to the next category, home furniture. The nominees are IKEA, Home Center, and Abiyat. The third category is electronics, and the nominees are Excite, Best, and Eureka. Mobile operators, the nominees are the 3 biggest telecoms in Kuwait, Zain, STC, and Ooredoo. And finally, in ISPs, again, the 3 major telecoms in Kuwait, Zain, STC, and Ooredoo. And the highest rank position for these 5 categories, which as I said did not meet our 80-point threshold, are in ISPs, Zain. This is the 7th time Zain obtains this high rank position. Mobile operators, Zain again, 12th time in this position. Electronics, Excite. This is the 4th time Excite obtains this position. Home furniture, for the very first time we have Abiyat appearing. And in close, the very first time that we have Al-Nasser Sports appearing. Congratulations, all of you, and we hope next year you'll be able to achieve the threshold so that we can actually award you our prizes. Now I'll move into the category winners. And these are the category winners that have obtained 80 points and above in the CSI. First, grocery stores. The nominees in this category are Carrefour, City Center, and Lulu Hypermarket. And the winner is, for the 5th time since 2010, Lulu Hypermarket. Congratulations, Lulu. We now move to car service, and in this category, the nominees are Lexus, Honda, and Toyota. And the winner in this category, for the very first time, Honda. Congratulations. Casual dining nominees are P.F. Chang's, Texas Roadhouse, and Maysel Ghanem. And the winner for the casual dining category, for the 10th time since 2010, Maysel Ghanem. Congratulations. We now move to our latest award. This award is the highest 10 brands in Kuwait based on customer satisfaction scores above 80, regardless of their category. So the criteria to meet this position are they have to be among the top 10 brands in Kuwait with a score above 80 and meeting the minimum sample requirement for their category. So we're going to begin in alphabetical order with cafes. The cafes nominees are Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, Cinnabon, and Caribou. And the winner is Caribou. Congratulations, that's a 13 times win since we started. And Caribou, in addition to first place in its category, is one of the top 10 brands in Kuwait. Congratulations. Airlines. The nominees in this category are Kuwait Airways, Qatar Airways, and Emirates. And the winner is, for first place in its category, Emirates. 6 times since 2010. Congratulations, Emirates. And also, congratulations on being among the top 10 brands in Kuwait. We now move to new car sales. The nominees in this category are Kia, Toyota, and Honda. And the first place category winner, we have a tie this year, and the tie goes to Honda, second time since 2010 for winning in new car sales. Congratulations. And it's also a top 10 winner. Congratulations, Honda, for this achievement. And also, as I said, it's a tie. So another first place position goes to Kia. It's the first time Kia obtains this award, and it's also the first time it's ranked among the top 10 brands in Kuwait. And we have a surprise. We have another brand in the new car sales category that is considered one of the top 10 brands in Kuwait, and that goes for Toyota. Congratulations, Toyota. Now we move to fast food. The category nominees are McDonald's, Subway, and Pick. And the category winner for fast food this year is a first-time position for Pick. Congratulations, Pick, for being the first-time winner in the fast food category, and congratulations for being among the top 10 brands in Kuwait. Big achievement for a local brand. We now move to retail banks, and the nominees are National Bank of Kuwait, Gulf Bank, and Ahli Bank of Kuwait. And the winner for the category of retail banks for 12 times since 2010 is National Bank of Kuwait. Congratulations, NBK, and also congratulations for placing among the top 10 brands in Kuwait. We now move to the bronze, silver, and gold prizes, which are the highest 3 country awards that we can give. And we're going to start it with private hospitals. The nominees in this category are Royal Hayat Hospital, Hadi Clinic, and the Salam Hospital. And the winner is, for private hospital, 13th year in a row, Royal Hayat Hospital. Congratulations. And also, I congratulate you on placing 3rd highest rank in the CSI for Kuwait for 2022, which places you in the Bronze Award. We now move to the Silver Award, which is the 2nd highest ranked brand in our index. And the category that this adheres to is delivery. We have Tawsil, Drops, and EKDD. And the winner is EKDD as the highest ranked delivery application in the index. Congratulations, it's a first-time achievement for KDD, and congratulations for obtaining the 2nd highest Silver Award for Kuwait. And now we come to the top ranked brand in the index, the top rank in the country. And the nominees are in the Islamic category, Warba Bank, Kuwait Finance House, and Bubiyan Bank. And for the 13th year in a row, congratulations, Bubiyan, on being the highest placed Islamic bank. And also, a very big congratulations for being placed the Gold Award for Kuwait, the highest ranked customer satisfaction index position of all brands. This brings us to the end of our event, and I'd like to invite you all to participate in our service trivia quiz. because it's fun and because, you'll get a treat for you and your team at the office. And I want to remind you all that the theme today was about humanity, being human-centric. And human-centric means we all have better experiences, and better experiences means the service has been better. And I'd like to remind all of our consumers, first of all, thank you for continuing to believe in us and believe in the fact that we're credible and independent. And we thank you for making your voices heard, because your voices are being heard. We are becoming the benchmark. Companies are listening, they are reading your reviews, and we've seen how service has been impacted. And remember, for every valid assessment that we collect on your behalf, we donate 50 fils to one of the nonprofit organizations in Kuwait, such as the Red Crescent. Thank you everyone for making your voices heard. We really appreciate you.